Chapter 29, 2 Sons, 1 Daughter, 1 Dream. The apartment never seemed quiet anymore. Not with 2 sons and a daughter weaving their laughter, cries, and questions into every hour of the day. The soundtrack of their lives was a symphony of chaos. Josh Jr.'s infant whimpers could swell into siren-like wails at any given moment. Bay, now old enough to demand attention with the confidence of a queen in training, filled the small space with her voice. Stories about school, sharp demands, jokes only a child could laugh at fully. And then there was Malik, their second son, born a year after Josh Jr., whose mischievous grin seemed to whisper trouble before he ever opened his mouth. 3 children. 1 marriage. 1 dream that stretched them thinner than they ever thought possible, and yet tied them tighter than anything else ever could. Josh often found himself standing at the window after midnight, headphones on, phone clutched in his hand, swaying side to side while rocking Josh Jr. or Malik against his chest. The boys were heavy now, but he never complained. The city hummed beyond the glass, neons spilling across cracked sidewalks, cars thumping bass that reminded him of block parties from his youth, sirens blaring somewhere too close to home. In the stillness of those hours, he whispered rhymes under his breath. Not for stages, not for Spotify, not for his rivals, but for the little bodies curled against him. "Daddy's got you," he'd murmur against soft curls, whispering into futures they couldn't yet imagine. "We gon' shine together. Daddy gon' build a stage so wide, y'all can walk it like kings and queens." Sometimes he believed the words fully. Other times, they sounded like prayers, fragile, desperate, but still spoken, because silence would be worse. For Micah, the struggle lived in daylight. She carried textbooks in one hand, Malik balanced stubbornly on her hip, Bay tugging at her sleeve, and Josh Jr. trailing after them like a shadow. Professors, though polite, let their questions seep out in raised brows and forced smiles. "How do you manage all this? Are you sure this is wise?" Friends, still lost in dorm life freedom, offered backhanded comments that stung sharper than they meant. "You're too young to give yourself away to responsibility. You could have been anything." But every morning, when she walked into class, diamond hoops glinting, hair pulled back neat despite the rush, she reminded herself, "I am being something. I am becoming everything." At night, she studied with highlighters clutched tight, eyelids heavy, while Josh scribbled verses across scraps of paper beside her. Their kitchen table transformed into a battlefield of color-coded notes and lyric-stained napkins. Josh would smirk, nudging her ankle under the table. "Professor Micah," he'd tease, watching her scrawl entire essays in neat loops, "teaching me discipline one assignment at a time." She'd roll her eyes but couldn't hide the small smile that betrayed her pride. 2 different hustles. 1 grind. But the tension never stayed gone. One evening, after a grueling studio session where producers whispered that his family man image softened his edge, Josh trudged home, shoulders slumped under invisible weight. He pushed through the door and froze. Micah was asleep on the couch, her head tilted against the armrest. Malik and Josh Jr. sprawled across her lap like tiny anchors pinning her down. Her chest rose and fell slowly, exhaustion carved into the faint shadows beneath her eyes. Bay sat cross-legged on the rug nearby, crayons scattered around her like a rainbow storm. She looked up as her daddy entered, proudly holding up her drawing. Stick figures held hands under a crooked sun, a man with glasses, a woman with hoops, 2 little boys, and a tall girl smiling wide. Josh knelt, tears pricking despite himself. "Daddy," Bay said seriously, "do you have to rap so much?" The question sliced deeper than any diss track ever had. He brushed a curl from her face, his voice soft. "I rap because I love y'all. Every rhyme, every show, it's for this family right here." Bay studied him, eyes big and skeptical, then nodded with the solemnity of someone far older than her years. "Okay. But don't forget to eat dinner with us, too." Her words struck like gospel. He promised himself he wouldn't. Life became rhythm. Not perfect rhythm, more like jazz, messy but alive. Mornings meant cereal bowls clinking, cartoons humming low, Bay asking why Malik always stole her spoon when he already had his own. Afternoons meant daycare runs, professors emailing deadlines, producers blowing up Josh's phone with demands he couldn't always meet. Evenings were split between beats and bedtime stories, the living room echoing with Josh's freestyle lullabies that soothed the boys faster than any recorded song. Micah learned to write essays with one hand while rocking Malik in the other. Josh learned to rap softly enough not to wake a baby, even while his heart beat louder than any bass line. They learned that love wasn't spoken once at an altar, it was proved daily in burnt dinners, shared exhaustion, and whispered encouragements at 3 a.m. The breakthrough came one late Sunday night. The children were finally asleep, their breathing filling the small apartment with a rhythm steadier than any metronome. The fridge hummed quietly. The glow from the streetlights painted the kitchen gold. Josh sat at the dining table, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. His notebooks lay scattered, lyrics torn and half-written. His chest ached with doubt. Could he keep carrying it all? The industry expected him to be ruthless, hungry, unshackled by family. His children expected him to be invincible. Micah expected him to be both. He didn't realize his tears had fallen until he felt her hand slip into his. Micah slid into the chair across from him, hair tied up, her eyes tired but steady. "Josh," she whispered, her thumb brushing his knuckles, "this isn't just your dream. It's our dream. 2 sons, 1 daughter, 1 dream. We make it work, together." Her words pierced through the fog of exhaustion like sunlight cutting through blinds. "You really believe we can do it?" he asked, his voice breaking. She squeezed his hand, diamond hoops catching the faint kitchen light. "We already are." For the first time that week, he let himself smile. A small one at first, then wider, like the sun rising after a storm. Back in the studio a few days later, he carried more than rhymes. He carried the sound of Bay's crayons scratching paper, the warmth of Malik's mischievous grin, the weight of Josh Jr.'s sleepy breath on his chest, and Micah's quiet strength anchoring it all. Every rhyme became a tribute. Every beat became a blueprint. And when the hook finally came together, a melody born from exhaustion, faith, and the relentless power of love, it wasn't just music anymore. It was a legacy. Josh finally understood. Fame was fleeting. Rivals faded. But this chaotic, noisy, relentless family life, was his truest masterpiece.